All right, so we're moving on to Inner Child, and is this a V solo?
Yes.
Back then, we suffered a lot looking up to the stars of that sky far, far away. Some of the language. The you of back then did not believe in the galaxy. Okay. But I happened to have seen the silver galaxy. It must have been painful. It must have been so hard because chasing after an endless light, I raced. I feel the stinging air of that summer day, the sound of ashy streets that felt so cold. I breathe in and knock on your door. We're going to change, we're going to change, we're going to change. Now I hope that we laugh a lot. It's going to be okay because the me of today is okay. The you of yesterday, I can see it all now. The many thorns in a building rose, I want to give it a hug. Oh, that's interesting. Though you're putting... So there's a side note too on the dual set Bangtan site here. So is that a line from intro? What am I to you? Though we're putting up your thorns, I can see that you're a rose. Is that referencing another song? Am I understanding what that's saying? Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I love the just the visualization of that. The many thorns in a budding rose. I want to give it a hug. A little kid with a smile on his face. The child who was just smiling brightly, looking at you like that, makes me keep smiling. I feel the stinging air of that summer day. So there's a lot of reflection taking place in this. The sound of ashy streets that felt so cold. I breathe in and knock on your door. We're going to change. We're going to change tonight. If I reach my hand to yours, will you be able to hold that hand? Because I will then become you. So this is he's referring to himself. It's the me now to the me then kind of thing. So it's that connection. You just have to look at
him talking to younger self.
That's cool. You just have to look at my galaxies. You just have to be showered by those stars. I will give my world to you because the light that shine onto your eyes are the me of now. You're my boy, my boy, my boy. We're going to change, we're going to change, we're going to change. Okay. All right, I like where this is going. And obviously a great follow-up to the lyric and the intent of where we were just at. All right, so filter, here we go. Great setup, just being on a carousel. Was this co-written with Chris Martin? It's got such a Coldplay feel and vibe to this one.
It does.
Like a Viva La Vida kind of thing. I was just curious if there was...
Yeah, with the four on the floor, the boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, just the overall vibe. I was just curious because I know they have the bands have relationships. So
connection, yeah.
Yeah, I was just wondering if that was there at all.
Not in this one.
Not in this one.
No.
I love the vibe of this one. It feels like just...
But V
What?
does love Coldplay.
So maybe that's an influence that's there.
Number one fans.
Yeah. No, it has such a great, like that bubbling Coldplay's so good at this too, where they have like there's always a feeling of something coming. It's like you just like it just keeps you moving forward, while still appreciating the moment that's taking place, and they're so good at balancing that, and that's the feeling I get from this song, which is perfect for that, introspective and retrospective relationship that's taking place in the lyric. So I think it's such a great fit musically.
Yeah, I love this theme. I love this, inner child, because that's such a common theme, like in a therapy session or something. Like that's what you want to heal, because
this is Jungian,
that's the part of
psychology all the way through. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the part of you that was the most open, and was, it's the thing that can be easily crushed too. So it's like that's the thing you want to heal first. So,
and in line with that, his delivery has that sensitivity. And we've heard that with V a lot, obviously, but it's just that sensitive. It's that quietness, quality. That
tenderness.
Tenderness, beautifully. Yeah, I was looking for the word.
Tenderness in his music. Yeah.
Perfect word, and I think that's really coming out in his vocal delivery too. You hear that little vocal fries. You hear the conversational quality that is expected in a piece like this, and I think it's really well executed.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I want to hear that chorus again. Oh, well, we're going to hear it a couple more times, obviously, but I just got excited.
많이 웃었음 해 괜찮을 거야 오늘은 내가 괜찮으니까 어째나 이젠 다 보여 웃던 장미 수많은 듯이 안아주고 싶어 있어진 꼬마
Connection's great. Is that like Little V?
That's cool. I love that.
내게 내 손을 맞닿으면 그 손을 잡아줄 수 있니 내가 너가 될 테니
Oh, I love that.
눈의 수들을 보면 저 별들을 맞으면 나의 세상을 내게 줄게 너의 눈을 비춘 빛들은 지금의 난 네가 You're my boy, my boy, my boy, my boy, my boy
I get the impression there were a few people there that knew the lyrics along with him. It's just a stadium of people singing. This is incredible.
Actually, there was no live audience for this in person.
completely
This
online.
concert, yeah, it
What?
was an online-only concert because
Oh, that's
so
that
the
time
release
period.
of the release of this album was basically just before like the COVID stuff grew
Right.
into a pandemic. And in South Korea, they'd already shut down things like public performances long before we did, like out here. And so they ended up having to cancel their world tour, which was, it threw them into a crisis. That's a whole story. So in substitute of that Map of the Soul tour, they had it was a 2-day online concert, and it was called like the Map of the Soul one concert. So they performed this album, like
Right.
all of the live performances that you'll see. Most of them are from that concert.
Oh, okay.
And so it was it was the first time they've ever done a concert without a live audience, and they found it really, really difficult.
I
And
It would
bet.
be.
yeah, like the production had set it up in such a way so that it would feel as if there were people, but those are all pre-recorded sounds. They're not live audience.
So
It was
was
a
it
really
was it on?
challenging
So they
bit.
didn't capture online people. Like was there audio taking in from them? Is that what they fed through with this? Or
I actually don't know exactly how it worked. Brigitte, do you know?
I'm not sure anymore, but there was for a few, like, wasn't it for these concerts that you could sign up for kind of a pre-recording thing where they did these things like the We Gon' Change part? What, Army, help me out here. But they did that for a few concerts where kind of you could sign up for a like you had a meeting or you could, it was a raffle. Like some of the people that got the
okay.
tickets, they did an online, yeah, live Zoom with like Hive and stuff. That's what I thought it was for this concert where they recorded these things and then kind of fed them in. But
Well,
I am,
yeah, Gary pointed out that the audio from the army was a little lagging,
yeah,
so it implies it was
yeah,
captured there, and that the whole syncing through Zoom and all that was still. I mean, that
Yeah, there were a
technology's
lot of technical
yeah,
gotten
issues
yeah.
better.
with
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
set, I remember, yeah.
Wow, that
But
is
like they
super
rented
cool.
out entire huge places to do these things, like
Yeah,
arenas and
like
stadiums. Like
Soju
it's
later.
To still
Yeah.
make it feel like you're
yeah,
in a
and they
concert
had, is it
state.
here where they have, or no, it was the Suzu, was it, where they had like just lines of screens of people that were watching online.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that was
It was
Soju, yeah.
incredible. Yeah.
Mm.
and that's a weird feeling, performing on stage without actual flesh and blood in front of you. It's like the energy is totally different. It's kind of it's harder than even a rehearsal, because when you're rehearsing, you're in the mindset of like, okay, there's going to be someone there, and there's like, you give yourself a little
Right.
bit more grace and checking things out. You're not maybe fully connected to lyrics and things. But then when it's the performance, it's the one that's supposed to count, and there's no one to respond with. It's a very, it could be very hollow, I think is the word that comes to mind, that sensation. Johnny and I once did a gig. Do you remember Letchworth Pines? Do you remember that nightmare?
Well, it was next to a bowling alley, if that says anything. So,
This is when our band was at its peak.
yeah, there were 6 people, and 5 of them, 2 of them were girlfriends, 2 of them were friends, and the other one was just a drunk
The
guy.
bartender, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but it was connected to a bowling alley. And when we started the first song, someone from the bowling alley came out and closed the door. It was just like that. Was just like,
Well, that's not a damning indictment on what
and
they
we're like, we have 2.5 hours left to go in an empty room.
Yeah, kind of demoralizing. Yes.
It's
Yeah.
really
Okay, so by the way, so people in the comments are saying there was live Zoom calls like into the actual concert, but there was also pre-recordings, and you could send. And I remember this. We got an email like from Hype. You could record parts of the song and send it in. So I think it must have been a mix of those
oh, so they
things.
did like a post
So
production of things in a
yeah,
way. Got it.
and going, yeah, and going post or pre, like this was like we in the concert when we watched it live, we heard these things already too. So uh, it was blended in right
Gotcha.
there. Some of it was live, some of it probably not. So that, and the other thing I wanted to say, what Saya said, like with them not being able to perform like in front of people later in interviews, they actually talked about it. Actually, Tumin talked in this concert one night. He talked about how hard it had been, like to not be able to see their fans. But then later in an interview, he says, like or no, it's in the book, right, guys? It's in the book. I think in their book, he says how it felt like they were back onto square one of their careers, kind of, because back then they didn't get audiences either, like, or very few people, and all of a sudden they felt like they were thrown back into that with no live people in front of them, and they did something which was super super hard for them
Yeah.
personally, for all of them, and then that translated into a brilliant album later
Yeah.
on. But anyways,
Cool.
no, because
Cool,
this,
cool.
yeah. But anyways, yeah.
All right,
Can we
so
take 1 second to just talk about how perfect this song is for V and his personality? Because this is so him. This song could only have come out from him, and like he's a grown man. Well, nobody's going to argue with that. But he's managed to retain, or even I think this has grown over the years, this really sort of a childlike sweetness that sort of sharpens as he gets older. And like, it's really difficult to listen to the song without tearing up a little bit, actually.
Yeah, I was actually gonna make a comment on that. I thought it was great how, yeah, that like childlike innocence kind of came through lyrically and musically with that chord progression. It's just like got a little bit of that poignancy, a little of that sadness of like, oh, I had such a hard time as a child, but also that hopefulness.
and then when he does allow himself to smile, it's just kind of like you breathe again, right? It's just kind of like that forgiveness or that tenderness kind of like comes through in that moment too.
Yep. Thank you guys again for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit like and subscribe. Ring that bell so you always know what videos we're coming out with next.
Yes, and also be sure to check out the links below in the description where you can learn about our memberships, buy us a coffee when we wake up bright and early for you. Check out all the extra perks available there. And you can also go to Throga.com where you take a free vocal assessment to learn more about your voice and become a better singer. Thank you everyone so much for joining. Make sure to check out the next video to keep your thronely experience going.
This video right here.
Yeah, that one. Yes, yeah.
Okay, good. See you guys.
Bye.